We're doing arts and crafts, living up to our name.
The way, remember, we originally had it was rank 1 was only going to be this. Rank 2 was going to give you this, which was going to be this side and this side.
Yeah.
And then rank 3 was going to... So you could essentially have this on this side, this going, and then a rounded kind of...
Yeah, I'm
the
assuming
shapes
that
are
the
just kind of
canvas will be big enough that you basically, you'll be able to experiment quite a bit, and really it's about the number of shapes and the piece limit on that parcel, right? We'll give you, like, there'll be way more squares than you're allowed to have pieces,
Yeah.
or that you'll get in a set to be able to fill it.
So that'll give you freedom to do a lot of different designs. I like the idea too, like we were talking about earlier, is giving them a blueprint, but something that they could overlay on the grid so that they can actually see where the pieces, should they want to just recreate this exactly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But giving them the ability to be able to rotate it too, you know, within that space could be kind of interesting. If you wanted your keep opening
It would have to
that
be like
way
how we
or
were going to
this
do the
way or
houses.
this way.
Remember the houses on the plot?
Yeah,
We're going to do
yeah.
a certain side, but inside of it, you would be able to rotate it. So we'd have to do something where this is actually
A lot bigger.
a lot bigger,
Yeah,
but
this
then you're
canvas.
only
Yeah.
building this side so that you can actually rotate it within that square.
Yeah, well, I only think you would do 90-degree turns, right? I mean, everything's going to be 90
Yeah.
degree. We could have a flip, though, where you could have a piece that you're like, yeah, well, that's fine. I don't mind. I can turn it 90 degrees, or I can flip it to get the inverse.
Yeah.
Like this piece right here has one corner that's an interior, one corner that's an exterior. And no matter how I spin it, it's always going to be the same thing. You'd need to basically inverse
Mirror
it.
it.
I mean, the only way we could do it is literally like how we were going to do the housing, where if this was the larger space, this is your parcel that you can, the area you can build in, and then you can rotate that at like those.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
that'd be very-
You'd put it about, it's almost like a lazy Susan in
Yeah.
the middle of the thing,
A
and it
lazy-
can spin.
My only
You
worry
know?
was that if you start to introduce 45-degree rotations, then your actual diagonal pieces start to become confusing. I mean, I imagine
Okay.
it would be the
Yeah, that's
entire
true.
grid. It would be rotating the whole grid, right? You wouldn't rotate this on the grid.
No, no. It would be
Oh,
the
okay,
whole-
so the
your
whole, the
thing.
entire grid would
grid.
be a big lazy Susan, so you could
Almost.
spin it
That might be
around.
Yeah,
really
so that you're-
issues with the terrain,
I
though.
was gonna say, the problem is the
could.
blending
Yeah.
areas at the
Yeah.
edge of
Yeah.
the terrain probably would be painful, but it would be really cool.
I mean, at least you're getting.
Well, no, I'm not saying actually
90.
rotate the terrain, but rotating the grid on the terrain.
Yeah.
So what this player sees is a grid that looks like, you know, like this.
Yeah, so wouldn't you, well, we'd either have to make
that
all
really
the
becomes-
buildable areas kind of, circular.
Yeah.
Or as
Yeah.
that thing moves, it would have to flatten. That sounds like a lot of painful tech. But there's no engineers in here, so let's promise
Let's
it.
just do it.
We're doing it.
Let's just say we're going to do it.
As designed.
So yeah, maybe having like a layout in a kind of a transparent looking view. So you select what kind of layout you like, and it kind of shows that you can just start laying
Yeah,
the pieces
that
down,
would be pretty
or you
cool.
can just go off on your own.
That'll probably be later, though. I mean,
But I do
realistically.
like the idea, though, of giving them a map so that they can actually just recreate this without a lot of pain if they wanted to, you know? Yeah.
A blueprint, right? Where
Yeah.
you can
Right.
kind of project and it'll
Sure.
show, you still have to build
You
it,
still
but
should have to build it.
But what if
yeah.
I didn't
But it's really
want
easy.
to?
buy it from somebody else. Buy it from another player.
But what I'm saying is, if I buy it from the store and I buy this, and
You bought a Lego kit.
I know a Lego kit.
Yeah.
Well, you know how like the instructions come with Lego kits. They
Right,
kinda show that.
exactly.
Well, what if instead of me having to build it out, I hired you to come in and just build it out?
Yeah,
for me?
hire another player to do it. Or just another player could actually build it and then sell you that parcel completely finished, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this area right here is kind of grasslands right now, but this is where you can build. So you have to clear it out first before you build, right?
Yeah,
Possibly.
sort of. That's what we talked about yesterday.
Just how
It's maybe
old-
having piles of ruins and stuff
I
like
think
that.
the ruins is a good idea.
And
So
you
the
clear them
issue-
out, and then you also get some stone when you clear them out.
So the issue is, let's say you've cleared it all out and you've started making this, but you know what? You're like, I kind of don't want this here anymore. I just want this facing. What happens to the land after, if you've reset it? Can you reset the land, I guess is what I'm asking.
That's an interesting thought. Actually, it would be kind of cool. This is like out in things that we probably can't afford to do, but would be really cool.
But there's no program,
Land.
remember.
Yes, I know.
Well,
We just have to pay for it. But it would be kind of cool if you don't build in a certain area for some period of time, it reverts back.
Overgrows.
So it would basically, you could tell if somebody hadn't been in and playing in their kingdom for a while, because it would all the grass would come back. That would be
That'd be
pretty
cool.
cool. I would love to do
That
it,
would
but
be-
The question
amazing,
is,
actually.
yeah, but if we have a rubble state for everything, we've just doubled the amount of work on John, which
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with, but John might not like.
Either way, this is a great set to start off with.
No,
that
it's
will
cool.
only get bigger and bigger.
Yeah, it is really
Like,
cool.
we'll just keep adding more to it.
Yeah, like adding the rounded
fantastic.
towers and things like that for the castle, I think are gonna be.
Yeah, well, that's
Everything
the,
else is the same.
like these, I called this,
We
what
have
the heck
taller
did I call
walls, too,
that?
in
I
some
think
of
I called
those.
that
Yeah,
a platform piece. So I'd like platform with gate, platform with tunnel, platform blocked. So these are custom pieces, right, that you can't get easily. It's not like you can just, like these other pieces, you can just find them. You can probably craft them and stuff like that. This stuff is really
I mean, we
hard to
could-
come by.
We could do a version without the platform, a version with the platform, a version without these
It's
guys.
the same.
Same thing,
Is-
flags
Yeah.
on and off.
Yeah.
I also, what's cool is these pieces here, like these singles and doubles and triples and stuff like that, we can run that through the crafting system, right? So I craft a certain number of materials to create a single or a single with catwalk, and then I can combine multiple of those to get, to get larger pieces. So that'd be actually really cool.
Don't forget,
That
these
would
are gonna
actually be
be,
really cool, like if you could take these, put them together as individual, components in a recipe.
Yeah.
And you come out with something that is,
No longer or has more accents or
or
whatever,
that it's,
right?
that's built in.
Yeah, oh,
You
yeah,
get a
yeah, yeah,
piece-
you're
you
right,
put 'em-
that's true.
You actually combine
It's
them
a
together
combinatory
to get
system.
an integrated piece.
Yeah.
That looks nicer.
I also like that too, because I mean, again, it ties back to crafting and it opens up a whole new series of professions, right? Like, I'm a guy who that's what I do. I specialize specifically in these parapets, right? Or I'm a guy that actually builds the whole thing out and then sells it. I'm like basically a builder.
Yeah, that's
I build
cool.
the whole thing out and I sell it to other players completed.
I would love that. Yeah.
houses.
How big are your houses right now compared to like one of these gate pieces?
I think I had them in such a way where I had.
You were able to fit at least two.
It was one this way and like one that way, I think it was, or maybe
Okay.
it was kind of like that. Yeah, so 4 on each side basically.
Of the smallest or the
Of
largest?
The smallest, whatever. we're doing.
Okay.
But see, since we're changing housing to a degree, we don't have to worry about you going inside of it. That changes things.
We
Yeah.
can make
now
them smaller.
we
That's
can make
true.
them smaller and more
Yeah.
modular looking, so that it looks more like a little.
Yeah, and then you've got these big buildings that, like the Keep, that you absolutely can go inside, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But those are gonna be pretty much like giant central features inside of one of these courtyards. At least, well, I don't know, actually.
These will be
They
prefabs.
totally could have taken this and put it outside here if they wanted to.
Sure.
I mean, there's
It's up to
no,
us.
there's no, it's
I mean,
up
you
to
could
them,
you could
right?
remove this whole section and then take that and then flip it
That's
this way.
really cool, actually, I mean, that's very, very cool.
So the keep itself is a prefab that won't change. You'll be able to have multiple levels, but everything else will be interchangeable to begin
That's cool.
with.
Since we're looking at it from a top-down view, it was hard to tell what level everything landed on.
Yeah,
So having
yeah.
a color coding system that
Yeah.
the player can actually see and know, like, especially like when they're building the steps or the stairs, you don't really know if that ramp is leading up to that second floor or where it's going. So
Yeah, the system
a
that I
color
used
coding would be a good
when I was
idea.
doing it, I mean, we don't have the color printer, but when I was doing it, I was just like, I drew basically a line that said, okay, there's a red line here, and that means that any piece that it's not that it can't go there. Like, I can take whatever I want and set it there,
Sure.
technically. But if I want that to match up, then I look for that red line, and I know if I put something else with a red line right up against it, then I know that those two are gonna be seamless, and now at that same level. So the downside of that is we only have a set number of colors that we can use, but how many distinct levels do we need?
I mean, I think we were talking only 3.
Yeah, right
Yeah,
now,
for
but I
now.
think once you
So
get
I think
into-
you have like in the current keep, you have
Yeah.
like 7, right?
Right.
Yeah, this is gonna work, and I hope the kiddies love it.